Not everyone has the time to build a curriculum from scratch. Most AP teachers have had to build their course from the ground up, making a lot of mistakes along the way. If you can afford it, you can buy a canned curriculum like the one offered by Adrian Dingle. That's fantastic, but most schools don't have that kind of money, at least in Alabama. If you combine all the decisions you need to make, the topics you need to teach, what book to get, what labs are available, what labs can I do with the resources at my school, the task looks insurmountable. When you teach the class on the day-to-day basis, you have to find practice problems, simulations, activities, and write unit tests. If you're lucky enough to teach AP chemistry all day, which most of you are not, accomplishing those tasks is almost impossible. If you have other preps, then teaching AP and making all those decisions and doing all that work makes your job that much harder. If you're creating your own curriculum, then after 3 to 5 years, you might feel like you have a handle on the class. But then you aren't meeting the needs of your kids for those 3 to 5 years. And we would all love to be the best teacher we can be from that first day that you meet your kids. That's why you're here, and that's why A+ College Ready does what they do. I'm going to walk you through the course resources available on Canvas and show you I've got your back this year. A+ College Ready has got your back this year. If you want to be successful, we're here to help you. So first, a little bit of history. AP Chemistry has gone through a number of changes between when I started in 2006 and where we are today. Up until 2007, there was one exam format. And that exam format was pick 2 of these 3 free response questions. There were 75 multiple choice and tricks that you might learn, like potassium permanganate is purple. In 2007, that was changed to a set number of questions that kind of standardized the format of the exam. But the questions were still largely memorization, mathematical tricks, and the people who had been doing it longer obviously did better because they knew how to teach to the exam. In 2013, a new course description was released. Now, in 2013, all they did was say, hey, we're going to teach on these 6 big ideas. When a teacher sits down and look at those 6 big ideas, they have a little bit better idea of what they need to teach, but it was still very much up in the air about what exactly should I teach, how should I teach it, and what are some resources that I can use. Just go and Google AP Chemistry Curriculum Resources, and you will see there are 12,600,000 results. Now, if you have time to dig through all of those and find some resources and find some activities, then you have more time than I do. But knowing that we wanted AP teachers to be successful in Alabama, A+ College Ready stepped forward with a plan to create review materials, and then later a rough curriculum that told the teacher what to teach, how to teach it, and when to teach it. That morphed over the years as we became more knowledgeable about the needs of teachers, and it also evolved to encompass what are the needs of the students in all the very different parts of the state. In 2019, they updated the curriculum again and released the new CED. That CED is what we will be going over this week, and this CED is way better than a little pamphlet back in the day, along with a college level textbook and a hearty good luck. That's what I was given in 2006. So starting with 2019-2020 school year, we've had a much better idea of what to teach, in what order to teach, and resources that are available to us. Prior to 2019, A+ College Ready had developed a very, very strong curriculum written by teachers that had taught AP Chemistry and knew what worked and what didn't work. They taught at schools throughout the state, big schools, little schools, poor schools, and schools that are well off. After 2019 and the update to the curriculum, it was decided to take that old curriculum and kind of morph it to fit the new CED so that you could make a choice as a teacher, which way did you want to go? So I just wanted to walk you through what are the pieces of the curriculum that A Plus College Ready has for you so that you can be the best teacher that you can be. When you first log on to the AP Chemistry Canvas course, there's a Files tab. Under Files, we have an older A Plus curriculum. That was the one that was written after 2014 when they updated the curriculum, but before 2019 when they updated the curriculum again. The new CED 2020 curriculum is what we are compiling, taking that older curriculum and folding it in to match the new CED. So you can choose whichever one works the best for you. So if we start with the pacing guide, this is an idea of how much time you should spend each semester. And of course, if you teach on a block, you would cut that amount of time in half. So instead of 2.5 weeks for oxidation reduction and electrochem, you would spend a week and a quarter. If you follow this basic pacing guide, you may need to go longer or shorter because you know your kids best. You will still have 3 to 5 weeks at the end of the year to review your kids for the AP exam that occurs in May. So let's take a look at what's inside of the curriculum. We'll just take the first unit, and this is the older A Plus College Ready curriculum, but realize that the setup of all these folders and the setup of all the things that are available to you are the same in both the older curriculum and the new CED 2020 curriculum. The only way to screw it up is to try and do both of them at the same time. If we look at Unit 1, we've got you covered. You need pacing, how long to spend? We've already talked about that. You need formative assessment. You want to be able to assess, hey, what are the kids doing? How are they doing? Do I need to go back and reteach something? Well, under checkpoint questions, we've got several checkpoint questions for each unit that have a question that asks them, sometimes in a multiple choice format or sometimes in a longer format, to answer the question. And then after that comes the answer. All of these are in Word format. So if you want to download them and make changes to them, you can. I understand that having a million things to do means you typically don't do all of them well. So we wanted to take some of that stress off of you as a teacher. And that first time that you teach AP Chemistry, we wanted you to have the resources you needed to be successful. Now, 2-3 years down the road, you may not use this checkpoint question. You may alter these checkpoint questions, and that's fine. No one's going to check in on you. Just know that this set of formative resources is here for you and your student. Not only do we have checkpoint questions, we also have practice. So here under practice and also here under labs and activities are some different things that you can give your kids so that they can be successful. So if we look at the practice problems real quick, what you'll see is a bunch of multiple choice questions. These are multiple choice questions that have been written in an AP format. We know to be successful on the exam, kids need to practice questions that are similar to what they will have on the exam. So we have created a series of multiple choice questions that allow you to practice with your students. And if you're not quite sure what the answer is, if it's been a while since you've taken chemistry, we've still got your back. But back here at the end are the descriptions of how we got the answer that we did. All of these are original questions. None of these are secure. So if this is something you wanted to post to your school website or something you wanted the kids to be able to have at home, that would be fine. But just notice, we spent a lot of time explaining this is what the answer is, so you can be confident that you know what you're talking about, so the kids feel like they know what they're talking about as well. My first year teaching chemistry, I had to go out and find these practice problems. And I looked through an awful lot of textbooks. And sometimes I gave questions that were not like the questions on the AP exam. So it took me 2 to 5 years to feel confident with what I was doing. I don't want you to have to wait 2 to 5 years. If we come back and look at labs and activities, there's no way that you're going to be able to do every single one of these labs and activities. We've tried to list several resources that you might find useful with your students. Some of them are POGLs. Some of them are an LTF, that's laying the foundation from the National Math and Science Initiative. Some of them are Science in Motion labs. But these are labs and activities that we as teachers who have taught for a very long time know get great results with our kids. There are a lot of resources, as you can see, sometimes way too many, but if you look at the teacher notes and pacing part of each unit, we've spelt out, here are some videos that are available so you understand the content. Here is how we worked out each one of those practice problems I showed you. And then, because we're not the end all of everything, what are some really good curated video links that we can give you that will help you and your students understand chemistry better? We then go into a brief description of what you should be doing in that unit and some basic recommendations about how to come at a particular unit. There's a list of the labs and activities and a brief statement about what that activity is about. So you need formative assessment, we got your back. You need labs and activities, we got your back. You need practice problems, still got your back. We've also created PowerPoints. Now, teaching from a PowerPoint is really not the way to teach AP Chemistry. They should be doing activities first and then coming back and backfilling the areas that they're weak in later. But let me just show you a sample of one of these PowerPoints. Again, you can download it and change it for whatever you need it to be. Gives you an intro, gives you problems that you can do, all with the idea that you know your kids best. You can see what they're strong at and not strong at, and use these slides so that you don't have to come up with them all by yourself to teach your kids. In order to do AP Chemistry, your kids are going to have to move at a fairly fast pace. So we've provided a set of student notes. Again, how you use those student notes is totally up to you. But those student notes, they don't have to be on paper. You could totally post this to your school website, or you could post this to your Google Classroom or other learning management system, a set of videos that they can watch if they feel like they don't understand something as well as they should. If you would like to take out some of these notes and have the students fill them in, that would be fine. You're the teacher, you know best for your students. But it's a set of what do they need to know that kind of go along with the information in that PowerPoint. In your life, I bet you've met a lot of people who have helped you out with the do's and don'ts. The first time you cooked an egg, the first time you used a screwdriver, there's a lot of do's and don'ts that come with wisdom and experience. So for each unit, we have a set of do's and don'ts, things to concentrate on during a given unit, and things that you should not worry about during this unit to kind of help you steer clear of the things that are not going to be helpful and to concentrate on the things that are going to be helpful. At the end of a unit, most of us have to go looking for a test to give. Now, you might have a textbook, and with that textbook comes a test generator, but you may be picking questions that look just like the AP exam or not like the AP exam at all. You might also have a test that you think is great, but it's just not rigorous enough for your students. So, what's another resource that we have? The unit assessment. The assessment is built with some questions from old AP exams, and we've taken other questions from over the years and adapted them so that they're similar to the ones that you would see on the new current AP exams. There's a series of multiple choice, and these multiple choice questions really require a lot of reading. There's also analysis of charts and graphs. And there's some math in there that your students should be able to do without need of a calculator, because on the multiple choice portion of the AP Chemistry exam, they are not allowed to use a calculator. At the end of every test is what we call a free response question. That free response question is taken from an old AP exam. The instructions are very similar to what they see on the AP exam, and they only cover the content from this particular unit. So whereas an FRQ, a free response question, might cover 2 or 3 units in one sitting, we only pulled that portion that the kids should be able to do when you've covered this unit. Not only are the questions there, but we've also got answers. Again, we got you. We've got your back. It's not only this is the answer, but why is that the answer? And then finally, we've got some bonus material. Back in 2006, when I started teaching AP Chemistry, I had two multiple choice sets of questions that had been released over the years. One from 1999 and one from 2004. They didn't release a new test every year. They just released a test every so often. So we had to guess at what the multiple choice questions might be like. They also released the free response questions every year with their answers, and I kept them in a folder on my computer. But when I had to go looking for multiple choice questions or go looking for free response questions that had to do with a given unit, I would typically open up my folder and scroll through a bunch of documents looking for a certain question. The bonus material we have for you is we have pulled all the multiple choice questions from 2014 to 2019, and we have put all the multiple choice questions that have to do with Unit 1 in one document, in a Word document, again for you to use. Now, these are secure. These are not to be released to everybody, but we wanted to make sure you had everything necessary for you and your students to be successful. So you can look in Unit 1, which is largely stoichiometry, gas laws, some simple things that they really should know from the first chemistry class that they took. You can get an idea very, very quickly of just how many multiple choice questions there are. And the answer? 64. Those 64 questions have been pulled from a bunch of different exams, typed up for you, and listed in one document. This is something I would love to have had back in 2006. But again, we want you to be successful. We got you. Not only are those the questions, but we've taken the time to give you the answers and also why the answer is what the answer is. We've done that not only for the multiple choice, we've also done it for the free response questions. When you open up the file, what you'll notice is some of these are released, meaning they've been put out in public, and some of them are secure. The secure ones you can use in class and you can use on tests, but they shouldn't be given to kids where they can take them outside the classroom or put on any website or learning management system like Google Classroom. We have the questions and we have the rubrics where they would assign points for each part of the question. I want you to notice on this one, this is really a 10-point question, but we stopped at A and B because those are the only parts of this question that have anything to do with Unit 1. And we also provided the answers for A and B, just the parts that have to do with the unit that we're on. Most of the FRQs are what I call casserole questions, where they take ideas from several different units and they combine them all together. So again, formative assessment, yes. List of advice from teachers that have done this before you, yes. Curated labs and activities that go right along with Alabama Science in Motion, yes. PowerPoints, practice problems, FRQs, multiple choice, yes, yes, yes. Student notes and teacher notes, and finally a test that you can give at the end of the unit, yes. One more thing that you'll find in the curriculum is a set of review materials. So after you've finished teaching the units, here's a set of review materials that you can use to prepare your kids for the AP exam. We've tried to think of whatever your needs are to make you successful. We've tried to put it here. If we take a peek at the curriculum for the new CED, then what you're seeing is the same information, the same student notes, the same things reorganized to fit this new CED order. So if you looked in the College Board documents, you would see the CED, course at a glance, and the periodic table reference sheet. And then within each unit, again, you would find checkpoint questions, do's and don'ts, PowerPoints, practice problems, FRQs and multiple choice, labs and activities, student notes, teacher notes, and the all-important test. So hopefully this gives you a little bit of an overview of what's waiting for you in the Canvas file system so that you can be a fantastic teacher and get AP Chemistry right the first year. We'll be looking at these resources during the week a little bit more in depth. But for now, hopefully I've whetted your appetite and you're hungry to get into it.